And here we go on a Sunday night. Hey everybody, how you doing? Carson Meredith with you. Thanks for stopping by. Got quite a bit to talk about yet again this evening. In fact, a little bump in the road we've had to add for later on tonight in particular. Might have a couple of sprinkles out there. We'll talk more about that. But of course, you're probably tuning in tonight so we can talk more about Wednesday. Still looks pretty interesting. Well, doesn't look like a huge outbreak or anything like that for severe weather, but the Wednesday morning drive is going to be messy. So let's just talk about that. We're going to dive deeper into that system and talk about how long we can enjoy the spring feel. There is a little cool down in our 10-day forecast, but in general, looks like the warmer weather is sticking around for quite some time. Got the comments up. Let us know where you're watching from tonight. And of course, if you have any questions as we go along this evening, just send me a note and let's get going, shall we? We'll start things off tonight with our SkyTrack camera in Jeffersonville. It is all quiet. Really nice day outside today, wasn't it? We hit 62 here in the city. It's 53 now, still very comfortable. If you are going to be heading out over the next couple of hours, keep that light jacket with you. We'll be down into the 40s later on tonight. All in all, not too bad. Quite a bit warmer than the last couple of nights we had. Bottomed out all the way at 27 earlier this morning. So let's go to radar, shall we? Because if you look closely down towards the bottom of your screen, we got a few showers near my old stomping grounds, a Bowling Green out near WKU. Well, that circle's kind of off, but you get the idea. Most of those showers are staying to our south tonight. Having said that, though, I've been looking at some of the newest data coming in over the last hour or so, and some of the high-res models are trying to squeeze out a couple of showers in this area in a couple of hours, now towards Evansville. That's not a guarantee. We'll keep an eye on it, but if those sprinkles do develop in Evansville or nearby Evansville in the next couple of hours, some of those sprinkles may move into wave country. Let's say past 10 o'clock tonight. It's not going to be a big deal. I'm just letting you know. We might have a few raindrops here and there closer to midnight tonight. But keep in mind, we talked about this a lot earlier today. The atmosphere is so dry right now. So what you see on radar, it looks like decent rain showers, right? But the catch is all those raindrops are up higher in the sky, and they don't make it to the ground because the dry air just eats them up as they're coming down to the ground, okay? So just a few sprinkles. That's all we're really looking at tonight. And even then, it's a pretty slim chance. All right, let's see who's with us tonight. Janetta, good evening from Brooks. Donnie's in DuBois County. DeShane's in Clift Heights. Shonda, of course, in Jeffersonville. Good evening, Shonda. Hope you're well. Angela's in Taylorsville. Amanda's in Bardstown. We got a lot of wave country covered tonight. So again, just a small chance for a few sprinkles this evening, mainly to our south, down near Bowling Green. If you're watching us down in Adair, Greene, Taylor County, you might have a better shot for a few sprinkles tonight. But just to be on the safe side, we'll keep a 10% chance for everybody through about 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning. Otherwise, it's all quiet, mostly clear skies, and it stays mild, mid-40s when you wake up on Monday morning. And you know, it's Monday. Nobody ever likes a Monday, but it's not going to feel like Monday tomorrow. How about this? Mostly sunny, and our first day this year with highs in the 70s, 74. I've actually bumped up that high from what we had earlier this morning. And the record is safe. It's in the upper 70s. We're not going to get there, but still a great day to get outside tomorrow. If you didn't get outside today, do it tomorrow. Some point, walk around the neighborhood with the pup. That's probably what I'm going to be doing. Not a bad idea. Get some fresh air and enjoy it. We still got another 3 weeks or so until spring officially kicks into high gear. Something that you'll notice as we go through the afternoon tomorrow will be more clouds. Let's show you those on Futurecast. This is starting out at 7 o'clock tomorrow evening. You can see those clouds are filtering in. And as we get towards Tuesday and Wednesday, we have 2 rounds, if you will, of rain that we'll be tracking for you. The first of which arrives closer to sunrise on Tuesday. There you see it around 5 o'clock Tuesday morning. Tawana will likely be tracking this rain for you, not only Tuesday, but also Wednesday. We'll get to that here in a second. But anyway, this is for Tuesday. And you notice this is the HER model, the high resolution rapid refresh model, which is just showing a few lighter showers during the Tuesday morning drive. So closer to sunrise, obviously, the wet roads could make things a little dicey. I'm not too worried about heavy rain with this particular first round on Tuesday. Could there be a couple of downpours here and there? Yeah, absolutely. And there may even be a few rumbles of thunder, too. There's going to be a decent bit of fuel in the atmosphere for maybe a few rumblers on Tuesday morning. Nothing severe, though. Once this initial wave gets out of here, let's say past noon on Tuesday, I think the rest of the day looks pretty dry, kind of before the main show comes in Wednesday morning. And despite the clouds that'll be holding tough and the rain that moves in Tuesday morning, we're going to have those high temperatures back in the low 70s again. Don't get me wrong, tomorrow is still going to be the pick with those 2 days in the 70s. But even then, Tuesday won't be awful. Just got to get through that rain early in the morning, and then we'll dry things out. Let's see, Taylor's in Spencer County. Good evening. Kenneth is in Paoli. Hope things are well up in Orange County tonight. Karen is in Elizabeth, Indiana. Mildred is in E-Town. Let's see. Joe's watching on YouTube. How you doing, man? Hope everything is good in your world. Jason's watching in Cloverport. Shonda's got to work tomorrow night. Yeah, it's Monday, unfortunately, but it is my off day tomorrow, so I'm kind of looking forward to it. All right, let's talk about what everybody wants to talk about. That's the alert day for Wednesday. Here's the thing, folks. This is not going to be a huge outbreak, okay? It's not. This is actually pretty typical for late February. Pretty strong cold front moving through. And right along or just ahead of that front, you're going to have a line of storms develop. Now, the question is going to be, how quickly do they intensify? That's the first question. And the second question is, can they maintain their strength as they roll through? We got a couple things working in our favor. One, the timing. Obviously, the timing's not good as far as moving in during the morning commute on Wednesday, but that helps limit the fuel in the atmosphere. At the same time, the winds above our heads on Wednesday are going to be howling. And this is what we in the weather world call a high shear, low cape setup. If you're watching us last night, cape is a fancy word, or it's a fancy phrase, an acronym, I guess, for convective available potential energy. Say that 10 times fast. There's a reason we don't say it on TV. That just basically means the fuel in the atmosphere, how unstable we get. That number is really, really, really low, which is good. But again, that wind, as fast as it's going to be ripping above our heads, that kind of balances things out. It kind of counteracts the lack of fuel. Hopefully that makes sense. The bottom line is this. We're going to have a line of storms roll through early Wednesday morning, close to sunrise. I'm going to give you the more specific timing here in a second. And once this line moves through, your severe weather threat is done, and those temperatures nosedive. Wednesday will be one of those weird days where the high temperatures will be in the morning. And as you're heading home from work or school Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday night, it'll be quite chilly. We'll talk about those temperatures here in just a second. Before we go on, more shout outs. Betty, good evening, watching in the East End. Tina's in New Washington. Christina's in LaRue County. Ashley's asking if this is going to be a line or supercells. There's no supercell concern this time, Ashley. It's going to be one single line, just moves on through, and we're done. It's a quick moving line, too. It's just the timing isn't good as far as impacts are concerned because it's going to be moving in during the morning rush. Let's see. Carissa just joined in from Washington County, Indiana. What have I missed? Well, we haven't gotten into the details just yet, Carissa. We're getting there here in just a second. Thanks, everybody, for watching on this Sunday night. Got a lot of people joining us. Let's break down those details, shall we? The timing, we got a specific time frame now for this line of storms on Wednesday. 3 a.m. to noon. 3 a.m. to noon. I don't like that time frame because part of it's going to be in the overnight. If you're watching us in southern Indiana, you will see these storms first Wednesday morning, as early as 3 a.m. Some of you may not see them until 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning, but the bottom line is a lot of you will likely still be sleeping as these storms start to get going. So just to be on the safe side, have those ways to get warnings to wake you up early on Wednesday. Download our Wave Weather app. A lot of you probably got a notification on your phone that I sent to you about 10 minutes ago to watch our forecast here. You can get alerts whenever watches and warnings are issued on that same app. Get it, totally free. Another thing to keep in mind is just make sure you have those ways to get warnings, know where your safe place is, make sure the kiddos know where the safe place is. I'm not expecting much in the way of tornadic activity, by the way, but similar to a couple weeks ago in Clark County, also in Henry County, where we had those spin ups, this setup is similar. A lot of wind, not a lot of fuel, but we saw a couple of tornadoes with that system. And that's not totally out of the question here, but that's a lower threat. The main issues with this are going to be gusty winds, both with thunderstorms and just plain old winds, windy as it is, and heavy rain. We mentioned this system really isn't going to be a slow mover. It's going to move quick. So that should limit our flooding potential. But even so, for about an hour Wednesday morning, you're going to get some pretty heavy rain that could drop a quick half inch, maybe even 1 inch of rain, probably on the lower end of that. Now, as we also talked about, those temperatures, once this system gets out of here afternoon on Wednesday, winter's going to return in a big way, at least temporarily. So that's what we know at this point. 3 a.m. to noon Wednesday morning is that time frame for all of wave country to see these storms. First in southern Indiana, last in southern Kentucky, along the Ohio River, including here in Louisville, close to sunrise, 7, 8 o'clock, give or take an hour. That's the general idea of what we're looking at this point. See if we got any more questions here. Taylor asking about the tornado threat. It's lower. It's the lowest, honestly, of the threats. Main issue is going to be gusty winds and heavy rain. But I can't totally rule out a quick spin up, just like we saw a couple weeks ago in Clark County. Ashley says, thank you. You're welcome. Appreciate you watching. Watching from Brandenburg. Hope everybody in Meade County is doing well. So let's keep going, shall we? This is the severe weather risk for early Wednesday morning. And this is one of those weird situations where we just got to talk to you about these severe risk zones. So stick with me here. And if you have any questions as I try to explain this, please just let me know. What you're looking at right now is the severe weather risk through 7 a.m. Wednesday. So that 3 a.m. to noon time frame we talked about, this is the zone that we're watching from 3 a.m. to 7 a.m. on Wednesday, like the first half of the event, okay? Southern Indiana, all of our Indiana counties, as well as Breckenridge, Meade, Jefferson, here in the metro, Oldham, Trimble, Carroll, Henry, maybe even Shelby County. You're under that marginal risk for a few stronger storms between 3 a.m. and 7 a.m. on Wednesday morning. That's the lowest that scale goes. I like to do it by numbers. That's a level 1 risk on our 1 to 5 severe weather scale. What does that mean? That means it's not going to be a huge outbreak. That means some of you will likely just see a lot of heavy rain, maybe a little wind, nothing else. But it also means we could have a few pockets of damaging wind, maybe a few severe thunderstorm warnings, maybe 1 or 2 tornado warnings. Not going to be a huge deal. The greater severe weather risk is to our north and west, where you see that yellow zone up towards Indianapolis into Illinois. Past 7 a.m. Wednesday, so if you're watching us down in our southern counties here, Hardin, LaRue, Nelson, Marion, Washington, Taylor, Greene, Adair, you don't see a severe weather risk. Here's the thing, and it kind of annoys me, but it is what it is. I can't do anything about it. The Storm Prediction Center, they break down their days, their severe weather days at 7 a.m. So after 7 a.m., right now, they don't necessarily have an official severe weather risk. I think that's going to change tomorrow. I would not be surprised if they extended that green zone, that marginal severe weather risk, to include the rest of wave country. It's a weird technicality, makes talking about these kind of situations confusing. I hope that made sense. But just know we're going to start things off in southern Indiana, along the Ohio River in Kentucky. And as the morning goes on, that threat will push to the south and east. And in general, it's a marginal risk. So not everybody's going to see severe weather. But if nothing else, you'll see heavy rain and maybe some pockets of gustier winds, if you will. Let's see. Anna's watching in high view. Let's see. Cameron says CSU puts Louisville as the main spot for tornado and winds. Is there something holding true still? Good question, Cameron. So he's talking about this machine learning product that Colorado State has, where it's basically a computer, supercomputer, that tries to plot out the main zones for severe weather. And Cameron is right. That CSU machine did pinpoint areas along the Ohio River for a tornado potential and the wind potential. But keep in mind that risk is not going to be too terribly widespread. Could we have some gusty winds, damaging winds? Sure. Could we have a spin up? Yes. But it's not going to be everywhere. But good question, Cameron. Really good question. Renee says hello from Shelbyville. Good evening. Anna's got the right idea. Looking forward to tomorrow. Yeah. Go outside tomorrow and enjoy it before all this mess moves in on Wednesday. So here's Futurecast. Find your city, find your county. This is what we're going to be seeing in all likelihood. 1 o'clock Wednesday morning. I can't rule out a couple of storms potentially developing along the Ohio River. These will likely not be severe initially because the better forcing, the better push in the atmosphere is still out to our north and west at this time. But maybe a few rumblers just after midnight on Wednesday. Past 3 a.m., things start to get active. Look what's happening to our north and west. Got some heavier storms along the Wabash River, out towards Evansville. If you're watching us in Dubois County, Jasper, Huntingburg, you may start to see a few of those stronger storms around this time, maybe even up towards Seymour and North Vernon as well. And, don't take this particular model run as gospel. Obviously, things are going to keep changing as we get closer and closer. We're still 3 days away. And this is just the first high-resolution model that is seeing this event. So a lot's still going to change, but you get the idea. We'll see those storms start to develop around 4 o'clock in the morning in southwest Indiana, maybe up closer to Seymour and North Vernon too. And then as we go through the morning, you see how those storms start to congeal into a line. That's when the damaging wind potential comes into play. Again, it's not going to be everybody, but there will be some gusty winds here and there. I don't like pinpointing how many warnings we're going to see or anything like that, but this is the kind of setup where you would have a handful of severe thunderstorm warnings as it rolls through. Maybe a tornado warning, not likely. So this is 6 a.m. Heaviest storms still in southern Indiana, out towards Crawford County, Marengo, English, Orange County, Paoli, French Lick, Salem, Scottsburg, North Vernon, Seymour, maybe up towards Hanover and Madison. That's where the heaviest storms will be around 6 o'clock Wednesday morning. And as the morning goes on, this line keeps intensifying a touch and moves right into Metro Louisville at 7:30, right in the middle of the morning drive. I said it during our 6 o'clock newscast earlier tonight. I'll say it again here. Even if we do not see severe weather here in the city, the morning drive on Wednesday is going to be a mess. Just putting it out there right now. Plan on plenty of extra time to get to your destination on Wednesday morning. And look at those temperatures, by the way. We're still in the mid-60s here in Louisville around 7 or 8 a.m. Wednesday. Look up near Bedford and Jasper. Already in the 40s. Again, it's one of those weird days Wednesday where the high temperatures will likely be around midnight, and then they just drop like a rock as the day goes on into Wednesday afternoon. So here we go. This is 9 a.m. Worst of the storms are out of the city of Louisville, now in our southern counties. Bardstown, Hodgenville, E-Town, Vine Grove, Sonora, Munfordville, Greensburg, Campbellsville, Columbia. If you live around those cities, 8 to 9 a.m. As at this point when we expect this line to roll through. And once we get towards noon, this thing's gone. This is a quick mover. Now, you also do notice on this one particular model run, that as those temperatures tank, a little pink shows up. It's not totally out of the question, if you can believe it, to see a couple of snowflakes on the very, very, very back edge of this system. Personally, I'm not sold on that because there's a lot of really dry air behind this cold front that'll just kind of eat up the moisture, kind of like what we're seeing tonight with those sprinkles down in southern Kentucky. We'll keep an eye on it. Shouldn't be any impacts whatsoever as far as that is concerned, but just don't be totally surprised if you see a few snowflakes here and there on the very tail end of this system as these temperatures drop. This is noon, upper 30s at noon on Wednesday. You're going to go from borderline shorts weather to the heavy coat weather in a span of about 12 hours on Wednesday. But at the same time, the heavy rain and storm threat pushes east out towards Lexington, and we're done with this mess by noon Wednesday. There's a sneak preview of the wind gusts we'll be looking at leading up to this event. Let's see if anybody's got any questions. Richard said, just finished my spotter class. Great. That's awesome. Tell me I'm not going to have to put it to use. I'm not expecting that, Richard. I don't expect spotter activation. We obviously defer to our friends at the Weather Service for that kind of stuff, but I don't anticipate there being severe weather everywhere. Few pockets of damaging wind here and there, maybe a spin-up tornado if you get the right ingredients in one spot at one time, like we saw a couple weeks ago, but nothing too terribly widespread. Chris is asking about the Cape around this time. I don't think I have it in here, unfortunately, tonight, but I can tell you it's around 100 to 200. So it's low. But again, there's a ton of wind, a ton of shear, and that can counteract the lack of instability, especially this time of year. Janetta saying this is going to be right around the time, take the kids to school. Yeah, the drive to school is going to be messy. The drive to work is going to be messy. Just plan on plenty of extra time on Wednesday. Now, before the heavy storms roll through, okay, let's rewind to Tuesday here for a second. It's going to be very windy. I would not be surprised if we get a wind advisory, especially for our Kentucky counties, Tuesday afternoon through Wednesday afternoon. This is the European model's idea of how windy it could be. Looking at gusts maybe around 25 to 30 miles per hour. Criteria for a wind advisory is 40. Now, the question is going to be how widespread are those wind gusts? That remains to be seen, but I've seen several model runs today and all weekend for that matter, where we've had gusts around 35 to 40 widespread. So we'll see what the Weather Service decides to do. It's right on the line to where we may need a wind advisory starting on Tuesday. Bottom line, Tuesday morning, wet. Tuesday afternoon, windy. Wednesday morning, stormy. That's the main takeaways for that middle part of this upcoming week. And it's still going to be breezy even as the system moves out. So these gusts Wednesday afternoon around 30 miles per hour will be out of the northwest because that cold front will have already moved through. So on top of the temperatures already tanking as it is on Wednesday afternoon, there's going to be a wind chill with it as well. So that's where we stand at this point. A lot's still going to change. There's your 10-day earliest alert as we look ahead beyond Wednesday. We'll see what other questions we have here. So is the threat lessened now? Angie asks. I wouldn't say it's totally gone at all. There's definitely still a threat there. We're just not as concerned about being a widespread wind event, widespread severe weather event. There's going to be some pockets of damaging wind here and there, but not everybody's going to see it. Let's see. Sean is asking, is Louisville getting these storms? Yes, likely around 7 or 8 o'clock Wednesday morning, right in the middle of the morning rush. Let's see. Nicole's watching from Madison, Indiana. Hopefully they don't get it too bad. There'll be some heavy rain and storms around let's say 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning in Madison on Wednesday. Maybe some gusty winds, definitely some heavy rain. But before we wrap things up, there's your 10-day forecast. It's colder again, like we talked about, mid-20s Wednesday night and Thursday morning, only in the upper 40s for Thursday, which is kind of surprising. An extra little nugget here as we wrap things up. Currently, 2024 is the 5th warmest February we have ever seen in Wave Country. Average temperature around 46. So we'll finish the month of February on a cool note, which is ironic given how warm it's been and how warm it'll be tomorrow with Tuesday in the low to mid 70s. We do rebound into the 60s for next weekend. I got 20% chances across the board Friday, Saturday, Sunday for a couple of showers. There's another system as we get towards the latter part of this upcoming week, mainly down towards our south, just kind of a low scooting along the southern U.S. Big question is how far north does the moisture go with that system? Still kind of back and forth on that. So just be safe. We'll keep the 20% chances through the weekend. Hopefully we can drop those chances as the week goes on, but I wouldn't cancel any plans for this upcoming weekend at all. But that is where we stand, gang. We'll wrap up here and make sure I'm not missing any other questions. See, Cohen's asking about a tornado threat. It's not zero, but I'm not expecting tornadoes everywhere, okay? There might be, just like a couple weeks ago, there might be a random little spin up along this line because there's so much wind shear in the atmosphere. I like to call them whack-a-mole tornadoes. They just pop up and then they go away. They're really, really difficult to detect. So could we have a quick spin up? Yes, absolutely. But that chance is fairly low. Hopefully that answers your question, Cohen. All right, we're going to sign off on this Sunday night. I'll have an updated look, even more detailed look at this forecast coming up on Wave News at 11. Until then, I'll leave you with the 10-day earliest alert. Go enjoy the sunshine and mild weather tomorrow before the things get busy again by Tuesday and Wednesday. We'll see you tonight at 11. Have a great rest of your Sunday evening. Talk soon. Take care.